to that trade. He's always got something spicy. He's always got a counter pick. We could even see him on this Lee Sin. We saw it before, but Diana being hovered by TES looks like they most likely will lock it in. Set is also up if they want it, but they end up going with Thresh.
Yeah, which does mean that, you know, as you mentioned, the set is available. We'll see where Suning go with this one, because I feel like the Lee Sin, I'm almost leaning towards that being an SofM pick these days, as opposed to a solo laner. And things like the Sylas available for Angel, you're already against the Diana. It feels like there are a lot of really, really powerful picks available for Suning.
Yeah, and when you see a Thresh here from TES, you're pretty much guaranteed to get an Aphelios with it on this patch. Maybe you could get a Jinx, but those are normally the prio champions here. So the interesting thing about TS's pick ban is if they pick Aphelios here on 3, which it looks like they're hovering Lulu, they have the ability to ban out supports that would be good into this Thresh. But Lulu is being hovered right now. Not sure if I expect a Lulu with a Diana. That seems kind of strange, but the Sylas locked in for Knight. Oh no, it's happening, Munch.
Look at this mid lane. Angel versus Knight, Akali versus Sylas. You already know this is going to be a banger of a game. Let's talk bans, though, Dom. What do you expect to see taken off here? Lucian is going to be the first ban by top esports. So I guess trying to take that away. Maybe they're thinking that Akali goes top.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see Suning go for a Jinx and Aphelios double ban here. Normally, those are the prio support AD carries with the support of Thresh from TES. So we'll have to see if they end up denying it or if they're fine playing into that type of matchup. Also, the mid lane, just to jump back to the mid lane matchup right here, the Akali versus Sylas. This is a matchup that used to be super, super favorable for Sylas in most people's eyes. At this point, most people actually think that Akali has a slight advantage in the lane. So I'm really interested to see when you have one of the best Sylas players in the entire world, if that rule or that matchup idea stays consistent.
Could see the Draven ban as well, because I was definitely on the same page as you with the Jinx and the Aphelios, but actually Draven has really been cropping his head up, and Thresh just adds so much to Draven's kit, the ability to be even more aggressive and always have that land to get out. So I respect the ban, especially with JackeyLove. He's been playing it recently. He's an ex-Draven one trick as well. The set going to be banned away, which means both Aphelios and Jinx available for JackeyLove if he chooses them.
Yeah, he could also go for a Kalista style pick if they wanted to play a more early game centered draft. But the Aphelios that we were talking about earlier is locked in here for TES. Now we have to see what the support is. I would assume it would be a Nautilus for On, but yeah, there's a bunch of options that are still available. There's Leona. I mean, there's even champions like Rel, even though you don't most likely want to play that into Thresh. But yeah, we'll see the location of the Lee Sin here, and then a support counter pick for On.
Yeah, which looks like he's going to go for the Leona here, which not always great into the Thresh. Obviously, you can play the Zenith Blade, but later on into the game, Leona's still going to bring a lot to those team fights. We're just going to have a lot of AP in our side lanes by the looks of things, because we've got a Ryze hover. I'm not sure where that Akali is going now. I assumed that was going to be mid, but maybe Bin bringing something spicy to the top lane.
Yeah, and it's an interesting draft adaptation. Most people consider Lee Sin to be more of a solo laner, even though it did get slightly nerfed on this patch. And by picking the Akali early, using that to force the enemy into a Sylas pick, but then picking Ryze into the Sylas and flexing the Akali top, you can end up with generally profitable lane matchups. Now, the thing here is, can this Akali get counter-picked top lane by QingTian? He doesn't seem like he's the type that would have a huge champion pool, but the Yone lock in. Have we seen this? This might be one of the first Yone games we've got from TES.
Yeah, I think we've seen Knight play it last split once or twice, I believe. I'm not entirely sure. We've definitely seen a bit of Yone. But hey, Sylas versus Akali. We talked about that matchup, but it's just going to be in the wrong lane, in the hands of the wrong players here. QingTian bringing out a Sylas as well, which is interesting because he's been a pretty standard top laner, like a lot of Renekton and things like this. So already, my hands are up in the air. I have no idea what to expect from this draft. I'm super excited as we head into this one. Break down these compositions a little bit for me, Dom, especially this top esports composition with a Sylas in the top lane, with a Yone mid. Like, how do you anticipate they play this game out?
Well, it's really interesting because you have two lanes here that theoretically would want to be played around. The Sylas top would want jungle attention, or at least to be helped out by the jungler in some capacity, either with vision or something like that. But then the bot lane is Thresh Aphelios for TES as well. So I'm really concerned with how Karsa is going to play this game out. Also, Diana not the best early game jungler, so we'll have to see if the lanes are just going to be stable on their own or whether he continues to path towards bot like normal.
We'll see how he's going to play this one out. It feels like Karsa is going to have to get creative, but that is one thing he has never had an issue doing. This guy does not path like every other jungler. And honestly, this jungle matchup between Karsa and SofM, I think they're the two junglers in the LPL that are the hardest to rank against other junglers because they both play very uniquely comparatively to everyone else. They have their own styles. They're willing to forego normal pathing to make things happen around the map. And Lee Sin versus Diana definitely feels like it goes the way of SofM in the very early stages of the game. Huanfeng versus JackeyLove is the matchup we were talking about coming into this one, but I have to say that bottom lane probably going to be quite quiet. I think it's going to be all about Bin versus QingTian here, up at the top side, the Akali versus Sylas. I've got a feeling we're going to see SofM and Karsa getting involved.
Yeah, so it's going to be really interesting. SofM has a lot of opportunities this game. At level 6 bot lane, he ends up having a decent amount of kill pressure. JackeyLove most likely is going to be forced to take cleanse into this bot lane matchup. But the thing that I wanted to hit on real quick is at least the Lee Sin Ryze into that Yone mid, because that is a matchup that has a ton of kill pressure. It's one of the most old school matchups in the game where you always had Ryze root into Lee Sin Q, a lot of burst damage. You have different types of different damage types coming in. So really interesting to see how SofM pass, whether he goes bot to try to cover a potential dive, or if he passed towards the Akali and Ryze simultaneously here.
Sorry, I just saw a sign in the crowd that was like, it was a sign supporting on, and then I noticed in brackets it said no SofM for the support. The fans over in China know exactly what's up here. We just see some early wards drop down. You can see that ward from Angel, really useful for the early stages. They're going to know exactly how Karsa is pathing with a ward on the Raptors, whereas the deep ward that came out from top esports was actually swept away by On.
Yeah, interesting. So SofM starting on his red buff here, pathing towards topside. Karsa on Wraiths, and Knight ends up giving him a little leash. Now I love that as a jungler right there. When the mid laner helps leash your Raptors, man, there's not a better feeling. I mean, Karsa already has mental edge at this point.
Knight did, I think, forego one melee minion. I think Angel was able to get his wave to focus via a singular minion. So Angel might have a minor XP advantage, but I don't expect it to be too impactful. Realistically speaking, Angel is not usually the kind of mid laner that's looking for solo kills during the early stages of the laning phase. Let's talk junglers though, because we do have a bit of different pathing than we were expecting, right? Karsa is going to be pathing down towards that bottom side, whereas SofM's moving up to the top side. Do you actually anticipate these junglers getting into the lanes early, or do you think it's going to be a bit more about farming it up for the first few minutes?
So I think Diana here is setting up a power clear. When you start on your Wraiths, it means, or Raptors, I should say, since we're on an official cast now, I can't use my boomer.
I call them Wraiths as well.
I can't use my boomer terms, right? So when you start on Raptors here, the advantage is that it gets your camp up earlier, which means that if you do just elect to clear your camps on cooldown, you will be getting more experience in your second clear.
Oh, side JackeyLove flashing away the cleanse. They get the first blood. Huanfeng and On get first blood against JackeyLove.
And that should never happen, especially with Karsa pathing down. That is catastrophic. Both sums burn from JackeyLove and the exhaust from Zhuo, but I mean, we'd have to see the beginning of it. Looks like a pretty solid engagement onto JackeyLove. I guess if he just got too aggressive in the first couple levels. And you got to be really careful when you're playing as Aphelios in the first two levels with a Thresh, because normally your Thresh doesn't have Lantern yet, so you don't have that free get out of jail free card that you normally would have in the lane phase.
That is really bad news for JackeyLove, and importantly, this is going to be that lethality virus that we see so often these days. It snowballs super hard. This lane is not going to get easier for the Aphelios. JackeyLove with no sums. I've got a feeling SofM's going to be making his way towards that bottom side after his crab here. Is Ben going to get the crash up at the top side as well? And I just want to revisit something we talked about before, right? JackeyLove and Zhuo are the favorites in this bot lane 2v2. JackeyLove has almost always had Huanfeng's number. Huanfeng and On getting the 2v2 kill is such a monumentous achievement for this bottom lane. To win out in this 2v2 is truly exceptional.
Yeah, and especially the experience loss here from JackeyLove is really going to hurt him. It's not like the wave was pushing on him and he was able to catch something. The whole time where he was dead and walking back to lane, he's missing minions. So looking super tough for their bot lane. And on the other side of the map, Bin is being able to force QingTian out of lane.
Ooh. Yeah, Bin does shuriken back to the wave to... Oh no, he's got a TP! He's out of there! The TP in the Shroud to get himself out of there. They can't see the TP animation when it's in the Shroud. I don't know why. I don't know how that works, but Bin somehow pulls it off.
Yeah, I mean, I respect it. He knows that without Flash, it's going to be hard for him to get out of that situation, so he goes for the old Shroud TP. That was the Pink Ward special. Back in NA, he would do the same thing with Shaco. The QTP, it works the same way. So that's one of the oldest tricks in the book right there, pulling it off on the Akali.
Beautifully done by Bin, and it means that he gets to have that lane advantage and get away with it. Karsa so far unable to impact these lanes, and that's totally okay with SofM, who's hovering towards the mid lane there, but looks like he's moving towards the bottom side. Dom, this could be a bit of a dive setup we're seeing here.
Yeah, and there's
got to be careful on this one.
There's no summoners on this bot lane here, so you have to consider that when it comes to this dive.
Here we go, oncoming it, TP's coming through as well, but JackeyLove's already gone. Zhuo about to fall as well. He's back underneath the tower. Angel finishes that kill. 2 for 1 so far. Realm Warp out to safety. A blast cone is there. 2 for 1. Suning will take that.
Wow, that was a massive win for Suning right there, and it was so clean the way it was executed with the Ryze ulti out after they were able to get the kills. So not only do they get the 2 kills, they also get the teleport here, and I think that this just comes down to the bot lane not having summoners. As you can see, they end up just diving straight on to JackeyLove, one-shotting him, and then the Realm Warp cast it out, and instantly they're just out of the play. I mean, Angel with the Tech 2 getting over the wall, knowing where to stand. There's a fight topside.
QingTian looks like he gets out with his life, but narrowly, as Bin is starting to build a bit of a gap for himself in the top lane. On is Hex Splash, and he is not afraid right now. JackeyLove has no summoners. The cleanse just used once more, and he doesn't have Flash right now, but Zhuo gets a hook onto SofM, has to go for the early smite here. The Drake incredibly low. Karsa gets it in the end. On caught up. Knight goes into the fray, but he's just obliterated by SofM. Karsa has to get out on the lantern, and it means JackeyLove's alone. He gets 1 for his trouble, but he trades his life for it. Arrow goes through from Huanfeng. Snipes him down to make it 3.
And I think that one might have been blind there. I mean, I thought that this fight was going to go all TES because Huanfeng was stuck catching the wave under turret, but it seems like Suning is just too strong right now, and as soon as Huanfeng showed up, it was just over for TES. You can see the replay here. You can see that Huanfeng is stuck bot lane. He was actually catching this wave that was pushed in by Knight's Yone. I thought that at this point it was completely doomed when you see the root into hook onto SofM. He has to smite early, which means the TES gets the dragon. But Huanfeng, got to keep your eyes on him. He starts rotating up, and they just don't have the damage to kill on here. Over the wall, there is no ward. It is a blind snipe. So they kill JackeyLove, and then this Q is just dirty. Oh my god. Disgusting Q from Huanfeng there.
Right on the tip of the range as well. Just beautiful, completely red Karsa. And this is a bad look for top esports. Look at the gold difference already. Suning miles ahead, about 2,500 in their favor. And it feels like we have to look to Knight once more. It's not the first time this split, and it will not be the last. He's playing Yone. This is the first Yone pick we have seen in this split. And we need to see him pop off, but very much a scaling pick. Huanfeng, like he knows what's up here. On is going to face check in though. Moonfall comes out immediately. Surely they pick up the Leona at very least, but Huanfeng might be able to sweep this one up. He takes out JackeyLove. How do they do it? 2v3. SofM in over the wall as well, and Suning get everything.
Jesus, that was so crazy. The Ninja Tabby, or I guess the plated steel caps, because we're S11, coming in 4 on makes them so tanky. It makes them so they're unable to kill him, even though they had great positioning in that bush for the blast cone over. It looks like Suning sniffed it out. They're already rotating to that bot lane. As soon as you saw on getting caught, they knew that this was a possibility. And Huanfeng is just so strong at this point. I mean, he hits the ulti, he gets the 3-man spread, 1 layer of his chains, then the spread hits onto JackeyLove, able to execute him with Q. And man, this is a strong Varus. I love the kick from SofM right into the turret for the Thresh. And yeah, I mean, it's all Suning right now.
Super clean kick, and look where On is right now. There's two parts to this play. Number one, he gets to gank bin. Number two, he gets to soak a bit of XP because he's still only level 5 right now. QingTian respects it though, but look at that CS gap up in the top side of the map. There's a jungle gap in terms of kills. JackeyLove will finally get a bit of gold as he'll get some plates for himself. Has picked up a couple of kills, but not even remotely close to the strength of Huanfeng at this point in the game. And it feels like across the entire map, top esports are just falling apart. And Suning, where has this proactivity come from? We're used to this being a team that does nothing for 15 minutes and then team fights. They are all over the map right now, and they are being everywhere. They're making plays, they're being proactive.
Yeah, the thing about top is you can tell how pressured they feel right now with their complete lack of vision. Knight ended up rotating with Karsa just to get his own red buff. They thought SofM might have been going towards that.
On here. Realm Warp to get On out to safety. SofM dashes away. QingTian, who has TP'd down, cannot close the gap. There's no Drake up for another minute, so the TP doesn't really do anything. And top esports, they try and punish, but it all just goes awry. Bin, in the meantime, is just pushing his wave up in the top side, so QingTian will lose out on a bunch of minions for that TP as well. Top esports can't even go for the Herald by the looks of things. They're not willing to commit.
This is another big win for Suning. There was a small TP advantage window for QingTian there. Used it to try to get the pick, but the Ryze ult out, saving the support. Respect to Angel for that, you know, caring about his teammates and, yeah, getting On out of there. Burning the TP for TES probably means the Dragon is going to be all Suning now.
It's feeling real good for Suning so far in this game. Next Drake will only be a Cloud Drake, so not the end of the world, but still going to be a nice pickup for Suning if they're able to grab that one. See, Angel has moved down to the bottom side as SofM starts this Herald off. JackeyLove is up in the top side. Bin not going to do so hot in the 2v1, or I should say 3v1 right now, as they've got Diana there as well. But karsa's going to commit to his recall here. This will just be the Herald taken. You don't expect Bin to overstep too much. And this is just clean from Suning. I'm just amazed that we're seeing them snowballing a game right now. 3,000 gold lead at 11 minutes is an absolutely massive lead as well. This isn't just like a couple of wins in the laning phase. This is a huge lead going into the mid game for Suning. And on a composition that when we talk about fights, the mid game is going to be terrifying from this lineup.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be pretty much threatened to walk into any part of the map. Everyone can kill you if SofM is there. All three lanes have pressure if they have full visibility for TES. So the thing here is TES going to be able to cross map and get anything back when Suning goes for these objectives? Because I think if they opted to fight right now, it's almost unwinnable with these item values that we have coming in. I mean, the Varus is just way too strong at this point. Looks like he's actually going for a Serpent's Fang rush on the Varus. Interesting. All right, some different tech coming out. I guess there are a decent amount of shields on TS, so it does make sense in the context of this game specifically. But yeah, Dragon just going the way of Suning. No contest from TS. I think that's definitely smart considering how far behind top esports are right now.
Yeah, and it's only the first Drake as well. It's only a Cloud Drake. It's not going to be the end of the world for Suning to get that Drake, as SofM moves down to the bottom side. There are wards everywhere, though, so this play is completely spotted out. But whether it's spotted or not, that won't stop the Herald from charging. Huanfeng moves into the lane here, and unless there's a response from top esports, this could just be the first tower taken. And there's still a lot of plates remaining. 4 plates on this one, so I'm not sure top esports... I'm not sure Suning, sorry, can actually commit to this fully, but I say that's 3 plates gone already. Feels like top esports just grouping up mid now to try and make a play elsewhere.
So the situation here, I think, is that top is afraid to contest the bot lane turret. Even though 3v3, they probably couldn't get dove. It's the TP advantage that Bin now has top lane that means that TS is going to ditch this completely and just try to catch the wave under their tier 2.
Yeah, and I mean, in case JackeyLove wasn't ahead enough just yet, that he's now 2,000 gold ahead individually. That is dirty, because let's be honest, for a Varus, 2,000 gold is basically a full tier 3 item when you're building lethality, so he is monstrously huge coming into these next few fights. And I want to talk about the game plan here for Suning, because we've talked about how top esports, they want to try and trade opposite sides of the map. As Suning, how do you continue the snowball? Because one of the things about Suning is we quite often see them not necessarily the best at always being the most consistent team when they have a lead. But when they have a lead is their strongest point. So how do they convert this lead that they have into an actual win against top esports?
Yeah, I think that they right now should just be going into the 1-3-1 setup. Looks like they have people backing up Angel on this wave as they feel that it is dangerous right now. But I would love to see them just get the mid prio with Varus. I don't think anyone can contest him right now. And then get into the jungle with SofM and On. If they're able to establish vision control around this Varus, it's really, really difficult to play. I mean, JackeyLove is just going to have to dodge arrows all day. And with Varus having this much lethality right now, early, it's really tough. If you get hit by one of those Qs, or if you get hit by ulti, instantly you're losing your cleanse. You might even lose your life. So they're in a definitely tough spot here for TS, and I think Suning just need to make sure that they don't have any silly plays where they aren't using their prio. Get the lanes pushed, use your prio to group up, get vision around the lanes, and then you should be completely fine to continue your snowball.
Yeah, and you know, on the other side of things for top esports, we've already talked about how they want to play opposite side of the map, but also there is hope, right? While they are pretty significantly behind, right? 5,000 gold is not a deficit to sniff at here. They do have a Yone, they do have a Sylas, they do have an Aphelios. So the late game looks good for top esports. It's just whether or not they last long enough for those carries to come online, and at the point that you get 3 items on Aphelios, right, it's the question of how many items does Varus have at that point? Because if he's on 6, 3 items Aphelios ain't gonna make too much of a difference.
Yeah, I hope it's not 3 to 6 items. That would be absolutely catastrophic here. And it would be a super weird game. I mean, it would just be like a super late game situation where the Varus is just monstrously ahead. That being said, Varus items are pretty cheap, so I wouldn't be surprised. Looks like Suning is playing for the top turret here.
I think the weirdest thing about that situation would be that Suning haven't ended the game with an AD carry that's 3 items ahead. That would be truly a depressing game for Suning fans. Angel going to be pushing on the top side, though. Look where top esports are, though. You wanted them to play opposite sides of the map. Karsa invading while this is going on, but Bin and On sticking together, making sure that nobody can be punished here as the top lane tier 1 will go down.
Yeah, and they're trying to cross-map here, but there's really nothing that they can cross-map for. Oh my, that was the longest Lee Sin Q I think I've ever seen in my life. Jesus, connecting onto the Yone when he takes his E back. But yeah, right now when we saw TES look into that bot side, the issue is that they're trying to cross-map, but the camps aren't there. There's nothing that they can really win on that other side of the map. They don't even end up getting the bot tier 1 turret. So Suning actually playing a really clean game here, extending their lead.
Yep, no mistakes so far. Early aggression in the laning phase, managing to win out their matchups, and now in the mid game, doing a great job of just starting to take control of everything, not allowing top esports any space. And look, Overall Glaive already finished now by Huanfeng as well. That's 2 items on this Varus with only 17 minutes in. He's absolutely huge as we head towards this second Drake for Suning here, which once again, you fully expect top esports not to be able to contest.
Yeah, I think they have to give it. I mean, the problem here is that I think individually Mountains are pretty much the best dragon in the game right now in terms of the stats that you actually get. So you don't want to be giving these Mountains, but it feels like you have to. Maybe they could go for a Herald, but I feel like they're so far behind that even if Suning just send SofM to solo this and send 4 people towards the top side, it's hard for top esports to actually contest this Rift Herald here. Looks like Suning will probably get both for free.
Now, one thing that we do have to talk about, because I think Suning right now is sort of just sweeping up the map. It feels like top esports are just opting out of the plays. Although I say that, they are grouping up, potentially looking to contest the Herald. But SofM's going to move up there regardless. It does feel like top esports are the kind of team that you can never quite count out. And I want to get your opinion here, Dom. What do you make of Mojo as a concept? Because I feel like top esports, they just made a Mojo. They have more Mojo than any other team in the world, and I feel like I can never quite count them out. Like, there are certain teams across the world that you can always just believe will come out. Like, G2's another good example, right? There's so much Mojo there that you're just like, maybe the magic can happen.
Yeah, maybe. You know, I think G2's Mojo might be sitting in Cloud9 right now, but for top, they still have all their Mojo together on their team. So I actually think that they'll be fine. Even if they end up losing this game, coming back in game 2, they don't seem like the type of team that would like give up or tilt or have that bad game 1, have it bleed into game 2. And the real question here is, when does TES look for a fight? Is it level 11? Is it once Knight gets 2 items? The thing that I found really interesting that I wanted to talk about a little bit is the Gale Force pickup for Knight here instead of the shield build. That seems like a pretty ballsy pickup, especially when the enemy team is this far ahead. I would be so scared of getting one shot with this build, but I mean, Knight is one of the best mechanical mid laners in the world right now, so let's see if he's able to actually you know, make effective use of this Gale Force without getting one shot.
Look, let's be real here. This wouldn't be the first time that we've seen Knight 1v9 a game this split. He's already been doing it like crazy on the Sylas. Now bringing out the Yone, which is one of these mechanically insane champions. It gives him so much freedom to show off what he can. Oh, God. That was just sad. It doesn't even matter, but it was just sad to watch. QingTian cancels his recall for the lantern, but then it's gone. Bin could find a 1v1. I think QingTian's just going to finish the recall. And they continue. I want to return to the conversation of Mojo, though, because there's one team I want to mention that I think maybe had the most Mojo of all time, in fact. Maybe even more than Top Esports. And that's LMQ. Now, when you think back to 2014, that was a team that had some serious Mojo. I'm especially thinking about there was this one series to fight for the third NA seed at the World Championship against a Team Curse, I think it was.
Yes.
I'm sure you were.
Oh, we're
you were
doing this on the first cast.
Then, right?
Okay. I see you. No, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Okay.
What? Did you feel like they had some good Mojo in that series?
I don't know if they had Mojo that series. Honestly, if I'm being honest, we were pretty terrible. So I think that if they had Mojo, they should have slapped us even harder than they did. I think that they had a lack of Mojo there, considering how badly they were whooping us left and right in scrims. So, you know what? Like,
fair enough.
We take those. It's actually really nice seeing some of the LMQ players now. Like every time OMG plays, is it OMG? I think No Name is coach of OMG, right? Like I get to see the jungler that I played against on stage in LPL frequently. So
yeah, it's cool. It feels good to see the old names still sticking around and being a part of the scene for such a long time. I think there are so many veterans in the LPL as well that have been around the scene for basically a decade at this point. It's I mean, you're a veteran of about a decade yourself, so it's good to have you here on the LPL. And I am curious to see how it continues to develop, because I feel like we're getting new veterans in the LPL. Like when we look at the LPL these days, the top names, obviously I think Xiaohu and Ming are the two like super old school veterans. I guess Mako up there as well. But other than that, we're really starting to see a new breed of talent coming in. Like, I mean, just looking across the rosters in this game, you've got SofM and Karsa, who have been around forever, but then Bin, Angel, Huanfeng, all brand new players. JackeyLove has only been around for a few years, Knight as well. It feels like we're having a new era of legends coming through in the LPL.
yeah, that's the thing is that when you look at like LDL talent coming into LPL, they're almost always insane. I mean, I was pretty impressed by Zhao Laohu's performance, stepping in for Duggery for FPX. Players like Cream come in. And it's just like, where are these guys? Where do you breed these type of people? Like, they're just so insane. Like, they have such a high level of play immediately. And it's not only just the fact that they have raw mechanics, because a lot of players that come in from solo queue have raw mechanics. It's the other things on top of that, the amount of knowledge they have, not getting picked off, vision control, these concepts that normally take years to develop. It just seems like there's so much talent within this region. You know, maybe I'm just biased because I'm in North America where we're lacking a little bit on that end, but it's so insane to watch all these players come in and look so good immediately upon debut.
Yeah, it's kind of unbelievable, isn't it? And like Cream is another great example of this split, who's just been absolutely tearing it up. And obviously OMG not doing so hot super recently is on. Maybe gets caught here. It's going to be a route coming on through, but I mean, he is Leona, so he's just going to be fine as he walks away from that. Another Drake comes up as we return to the game here. And Sonic certainly in prime position to look for it, but it feels like Top Esports are posturing. Maybe they finally want to fight this one, Dom.
Yeah, I think that this is the one that they look like they might contest. Every single other one they're recalling, but Knight recalling here too looks like it must just be a call to give it up. The problem here is that in 5 minutes it's going to be sold, so you can't give up that one. Really, a Mountain Soul I think would just be completely disastrous for TES to give over. So it looks like that will probably be the next 5v5 fight, unless Suning decides to start a Baron here. I think that, you know, Suning's just going to play a slow, controlled game, wait for the Soul, get the Soul, and at that point, the game should be completely within their control.
Yeah, I mean, the game already feels completely within their control. It's just like dotting the I's and crossing the T's. And I have to say, Top Esports, hey, at least they understand the situation. I've seen plenty of games where here we see Top Esports just fighting endlessly and hoping that they coin flip one into a win. They acknowledge that their scaling is off the charts. They acknowledge that, hey, maybe we could just buy a few more minutes and fight later on. But I don't know, 2 items across the board. We're not going to have 3 items for Aphelios by the time that next Drake comes up. Does feel like Even at 3 items, even in 5 minutes, I'm not sure that Top Esports will be able to take a fight. So talk me through like the fight plan for Top Esports here. Oh, hang on. Maybe they've got an opportunity here. Bin's in trouble. R2 available for QingTian if he can spot where Bin is and line it up. But the Zhonya's buy some time. Bin still going strong. Moonfall used to finish him off here. SofM should be able to just get himself out over the wall. Great pickup here for Top Esports.
Yeah, it's a good pickup. It shouldn't translate into any objectives here for Top Esports, but it is good to get some of that gold and then at least relieve some of the pressure that Top Esports was under. It feels like this whole game has just been trapped within their jungle for at least the last like 10 minutes or so. So them being able to kill Bin is not going to translate into a Baron or something, but it will give them some control of their own jungle, and they will be able to deny some of the vision that Bin has set up. As you can see here, QingTian just jumping onto Bin, and Bin playing Akali with Ignite, no flash, doesn't really have a way out. Suning just let him die. Pretty simple kill there for Top Esports.
Yeah, but speaking of top laners, QingTian could be in trouble himself. Oh, SofM one jumps through the Everfrost to manage to dodge the root. I didn't even know you could do that, to be quite honest. In a 1v1 with QingTian, I'm not sure he's winning though right now. QingTian goes for the ulti. SofM still has Dragon Rage, misses the Sonic Wave though, and that's going to be the end of the 1v1.
Yeah, but that's just an ego play right there. I love that from SofM. He just wanted to prove how clean that ward jump flash buffer was. Like, that was some crazy level of Lee Sin mechanics. So even though it's actually just you wasting your flash, that's one that puts fear into the enemy right there. I would be scared going into a team fight if I knew the enemy Lee Sin had mechanics like that.
The stupid thing though is, like, we've got a soul coming up in 2 minutes and 20. His flash is not going to be available. There's like absolutely no need to try and make that happen.
Of course.
But hey, at least they got a TP out of night, right? We'll call that a silver lining. But yeah.
Oh no,
it's questionable from SofM.
Look, it's absolutely terrible for the game state to flash like this, because even if you get this kill, it doesn't do anything for your team. That being said, you got to think about the other side of the coin here, Munch, which is the mental edge that you get off that. That's going to carry the entire series. Like, how do you come back from that? You see a Lee Sin like that, I'm banning it next game. Like, I don't know. That's just one of the cleanest ward jump buffer flashes that I've seen.
And look at his build. He's taking it seriously. He's building actual Lee Sin items. I don't even see a Warmogs yet. Like, is this even SofM that we're witnessing today? Crazy scenes here in the LPL. Baron is up, by the way, and Suning have vision control of that area. I saw them kind of toying with the idea of starting that, but I don't think realistically they're going to go for that, especially when Bin doesn't have TP available. Feels very risky.
Yeah, I mean, no Warmogs on SofM. SofM changed, man. Who is this guy? Bring back old SofM. I want to see Warmogs, Knight's Vow every game.
Bring it back to me. I want to see the tank Rengar. It looked great in World's Finals. I want to see it in the LPL. Here we go, though. 1 minute on the Drake. We're getting the resets pre-Soul. And Dom, we've been waiting a little bit for this fight to come up, but this feels like this is going to be the 5v5 that the whole game has been leaning towards. And if Suning wins it, this could honestly be the last fight of the game. This could be the last moment where Top Esports have a shot of winning.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a very contentious fight right here. Suning is going to want to set up vision control probably after this wave, get into the river and never leave. And it's really hard to actually re-establish vision control from TES if Suning get the setup first. Being able to poke through chokes with Varus, I mean, Varus is one of the best champions in the entire game at controlling zones like this, just because of the amount of damage that his poke does and the frequency in which he can throw Qs into chokes. So as you can see, Suning pushed the wave deep, and now they're entering river. They're going to deny all the vision from Top Esports. Bin's got to be careful here on the bot side. If he gets caught now, it could be disaster.
It could, but if he can buy time while the Drake goes down, it could be a miracle. Bin R1s over QingTian to get out of the play. SofM could be caught himself, but he dashes out to safety. Q onto the Drake.
Got
Moonfall denies the second Q. Had a stopwatch available. He's still alive for now, but he's pulled back in. And Top Esports, they found the perfect pick. The solar flare on gets caught back in, and the mojo comes through.
Yeah, this was really rough. SofM trying to help out Bin in the bot side here. Bin R's away, but SofM is not able to get out, and that moonfall by Karsa denying the Q2. Really well played from him. Another micro thing in that fight. I like the Thresh hook, the flash Thresh hook on to pull him out of the Ryze ult so that he couldn't escape.
Yeah.
They're on to Baron here. I don't know if Sunny can contest this. This might be free Baron. It's like they're trying
though. They've got a Varus. They can always poke a lot, but they don't have a smite. They can't actually contest the take of Baron. They're not willing to do it. Top Esports. Look at the gold swing that they've just got for themselves. They're within 1,000 gold now of Suning. They've been so far behind the entire game. And Suning, it feels like it's slipping through their fingers.
And here we go into the replay. SofM trying to help out Bin here, but ends up getting caught. And you got to keep your eyes on Karsa here. The Flash E Moonfall to deny the Q2. Such a high value play right there. Gets a stopwatch, insta-dead afterwards. Then you see Knight, or no, it's actually QingTian. I see Sylas, I think Knight. Steals the Leona ult and the flash hook to follow it up, pulling him out of the Ryze ult and getting Baron and Dragon off that one series of plays.
I don't want to be that guy, Dom, but if SofM had flash, I don't think that play happens.
But what if he had Warmogs, Munchables? What if he had Warmogs?
Oh, huh? True. If he had the Warmogs, then he still would have died, yeah. But hey, he would have had a Warmogs while doing it, so at least it would have been stylish. Yeah. All right, let's reset. 30 minutes into the game here. Top Esports now with Baron. They can 1-3-1 like crazy. They have a Yone and a Sylas. The 1-3-1 this team has is kind of disgusting, but hey, they're against the Ryze, so maybe it's not good enough. QingTian kicked against the wall, but he steals the Dragon's Rage. Everfrost onto 2. It's not going to be enough. He has some sustain, but nowhere near enough. And SofM finally gets that kill he's been looking for. It costs a couple of flashes. It costs a few summoners, in fact, but Knight waiting in the wings. I don't think he'll find an opportunity, but Bin could face check into him. Top Esports are going to back away.
Yeah, this is actually a pretty high value pick. By the time that QingTian respawns, there's only going to be about a wave or 2 waves left of Baron for Top Esports. So QingTian here, pretty decently sized mistake. Walking forward and getting caught in this situation makes it so hard for your team to get the objectives that you should be earning with Baron. I don't think that this is a Baron that you end the game on, especially with how far behind TS was before that last sequence of events. But you definitely want to start getting tier 2s, get some gold back into your pockets after, you know, being behind for so much of the game. And with QingTian going down, it stalls out their Baron push completely. So now it goes back to the same situation where the next fight is most likely going to be around this dragon in 2 minutes, but this time it's on much more even footing.
Yeah, it certainly will be. We talked about Aphelios items, right, just a little bit earlier. He's finished his maul. He's got a BF sword and a pickaxe. It's possible, I'm not sure when he most recently recalled, it's possible that he could finish an Infinity Edge before that fight if he can. That will be a monumental spike for the side of Top Esports. But I want to just quickly revisit something we talked about earlier, and that's the proactivity of Suning in this game. We saw it in the early game, and even here, we were talking about how good Top Esports 1-3-1 is, right? Suning acknowledged that, and they go, okay, let's use the Realm Warp, let's be super proactive, and before the 1-3-1 can even be properly set up, they managed to get a pick on the side lane. Knight is looking for Bin, but just gets dodged away from. That was some clean sidestepping from Bin. Yeah,
well played by Bin there. One thing we should hit on before this dragon fight is that SofM once again does not have flash for it, so we're not going to be able to see a really big war jump flash pick if TES plays reasonably, they play together, and they defend JackeyLove, so it will be harder for Lee Sin to execute in this fight. Definitely a much better use of his flash this time, denying all the Baron pressure from top, but not having flash on Lee Sin for a soul fight makes the champion way harder to play.
It's not ideal, but hey, at least he won't ever be criticized on Reddit for saving his flash until the next series, right? He's definitely willing to use that flash. So here we go, 40 seconds, and Top Esports, once again, if they can find a pick before the fight, it's the dream scenario. But look at the ult combo that they have. With Sylas being able to steal something like a solar flare, with the Moonfall comes in, Yone with the Fate Sealed, feels like they could just blow everyone up if Suning misposition.
And Suning end up, it looks like they're potentially not going to even contest this. Okay, it looks like, okay, they pushed in mid. QingTian does have TP, but they don't have vision control of Baron now, so you got to be, or of Soul now. So you got to be really careful in this situation about walking into this Soul, but it looks like they're just going mid instead. Wow. I guess TS just opened.
Suning are just like, look, You can have the third Drake. We don't care. We're just going to take it in him instead. Bin is toying with the idea of contesting on his here as well. They're too late for the Drake, but maybe they can get a pick instead. Karsa gets the Shuriken on. Solar Flare in, but Bin doesn't follow up. They're buying time. They're stopping recalls. The rest of Suning are on the way here. It's a TP from QingTian. And now Suning, they're the ones trying to run away. JackeyLove on the front line takes an arrow to the face, and he'll have to back away. Hey, that's a bonus TP taken after a mid-inhib. You take that trade as Suning.
Yeah, definitely. And this is a really smart play by Suning, recognizing that it might be soul for them, but it's only third Drake for the enemy. So they are completely okay giving this up if they feel like they don't have control, which they didn't have there. And they end up winning a mid inhib because of it. The bonus on top, like you stated, the TP from QingTian. So now you're going to see Suning try to make use of forcing the side lanes deep and making QingTian have to catch a wave that he doesn't want to catch without TP in a side lane.
Now, the one downside of this inhib is, obviously, this is a late game of Aphelios at this point, 4 items. He has no issues with dealing with super minions. The pressure coming out there is not going to be particularly great unless you are pressuring an objective somewhere else and they need to separate as a team. You can see how quickly JackeyLove just clears this wave away. It does feel like Suning have to do something with this pressure. They have to make themselves known on the map, but it feels like top esports are in control of this game now, right? Every time we look to a neutral objective, like right now, top esports are the ones there. They're hiding in fog of war. SofM knows what's going on. On moves up. He has his Eclipse available, and it will keep him alive for now. And that is the perfect way to do it, right? Face check with your tankiest member.
Yeah, they face check with their tankiest member, but top ends up chunking him pretty low, and they start off this Baron. It looks like top just wants to fight.
SofM wants to go for the steal, but he's too late. He's knocked up by Knight. He's denied. And Bin trying to stop recalls. He's trying to play interference. It looks like the realm up to the base.
Doesn't work.
Suning were just going to try and end the game, but there's just no way. Bin goes down.
Yeah, Baron recalls are just too strong. You can't make that play generally versus a Baron up team. Bin goes down trying to stop some recalls, but it's just not possible to stop all 5. And even if you do stop them, 4-second recall is nowhere as punishing as the 8 seconds there. So yeah, I mean, that ends up just being a really good play from TES. They were first on Baron, they got vision control of the objective, and they never gave it up. After they chunked on, Suning knew they couldn't fight anymore, and the Baron just goes over to TES for free.
This just feels like a heartbreaker for Suning, doesn't it? When they've been so far ahead all game, but QingTian is pushing way too far. Look where his team is on the map. They're miles away. Nobody is close to being able to support him here. He's overextended, and Suning want to punish. This is the moment for Suning to maintain control of the game. QingTian goes underneath the tower here. He's going all the way. He's trying to buy as much time as possible, but Drake's not up for another 2 minutes. There isn't anywhere for QingTian to go. Oh, he steals the round whoop. Oh, the Zhonya's combo doesn't work anymore, bro. They patched that out.
No, I think he tried to do the bug, because I think on recent patches it did actually work for a little bit. So I
really?
thought that it might go off. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. Like sometimes this game that has some weird things that end up occurring. But I guess that was actually patched out on this patch. So yeah, available. Maybe one patch before this play would have worked out. But this is the second time that we've seen QingTian get picked when TS have Baron. It just completely stalls out the game. You can start seeing some of these rookie mistakes coming in. No more. He had no pressure on any other lane besides for bot. At that point, you got to sync your waves, wait for your team, and try to push at the same time as your mid lane.
They've got to try and synchronize it. QingTian just going way too far there. And this has been one of the criticisms of QingTian, right? His team fighting is really, really good. But when it comes to playing in the side lanes, when it comes to the 1v1 and the laning phase, often you can feel a little lackluster. And this is exactly what you were talking about before, right? Some of the things that rookies often don't bring to the table is experience in these kind of situations. This is an incredibly high-pressure game. Knowing exactly how to play every single situation is often where rookies fall short. And remember, QingTian, this is a rookie coming into the LPL, trying to replace 369 as well. Those are big shoes to fill. And that's a rough moment for top esports, but it does still feel like they're in control of the game, and it's 40 seconds till that Mountain Soul comes up. This is Soul for either team. Suning have to contest now. Zhuo will jump away, but the The Chain of Corruption misses. Karsa goes in, turns golden, keeps himself alive. Knight is onto the rest of the team as well. 1 for 1 as SofM gets one. JackeyLove's in trouble, but they just burn through the health bars of Suning instead. QingTian over the wall, and Suning, it feels like they're falling apart. QingTian chasing them down, and he's looking for more, looking for redemption after the earlier blunder. SofM gets a blast going out to safety, but it doesn't matter. 4 men down for Suning, and Top Esports want to push.
Yeah, they want to end the game. They don't even care about the soul here. They're going to look to TP bot with Knight and try to get as much as they can through bot lane here. They don't have the Baron anymore, though. Just fell off, so they don't have the Baron up minions. Looks like they are going to just compromise and have to go back for the soul here. Or maybe not. Zhuo goes back to ward. They're getting the bot tier 3. Looks like they're going back to the soul, though.
Yeah, they're going to get the inhib in the bottom lane, and then on the way out, they can go for this Dragon Soul. SofM, no flash available, but he is Lee Sin. It's always... no, he's not even going to try. He's not even going to look over in that direction. The Soul will go the way of Top Esports. And it has to be said, this is just tragic for Suning with the way this game has gone. But Top Esports late game. He's doing a JackeyLove. He did a JackeyLove.
The R flash to try to hit the support with the Chains of Corruption instantly gets killed by Knight. So definitely did not work out well for him there. I feel like part of this could be frustration. I mean, Huanfeng has been so ahead the whole game, and there's been just throw after throw. Really feels like this was Suning's game to win, but they ended up just having worse vision control around objectives, and TES punished them for it. TES once again on the map first. Baron in 1 minute and 23 seconds. It looks like TES once again will establish vision control around the objective.
And I just want to remind anyone that's just tuning in, anyone that's missed this entire game, it will look like Top Esports have been doing real well, right? But Suning started this off with, I think they had like a 5,000-6,000 gold lead at one point. They were massively ahead in the mid game. Top Esports held on, they battened down the hatches, and they were able to get consistently grab Drakes for themselves. They were able to take control of this game, and now you've got an item, a 6-item Aphelios. You have a full build Aphelios on your team. That is as good as late games get. And for the side of Suning, it's a bit of a heartbreaker to say the least. Still 4,000 gold lead in favor of Top Esports. They've got that Mountain Soul. And look, anyone at home that's played Lethality Varus, they know how much playing against the Mountain Soul sucks. Like, he doesn't do any damage anymore.
Yeah, it's really hard for Suning to do anything at this point of the game. And they are going to be kicking themselves. It looks like they're trying to engage onto Zhuo. They burned the Mikhails. Doesn't look like they're going to be able to take a fight here. TES wants it.
They collapse. There's a 3-man moonfall. Everyone comes in. And Top Esports barrel down Suning. One by one they fall. And Top Esports, they've managed to do it. It took a while, but they've managed to blow this one open. Just a couple of picks is plenty for them to blast into this base. And Suning, they've got to recall. They've got to make one last-ditch effort. It's SofM, Angel, and On remaining. But I don't think that this is a defendable base. I don't think this is a winnable fight. They're going to try and make it happen anyway. Knight on the scene as they jump on in. SofM dashing back out to safety, but they're chased onto the fountain. They're kicked back into the team. SofM will fall as well. And it's just too easy for Top Esports. After a unbelievable early game from Suning, it's Top Esports that managed to punish them later on.
That is a tough game to lose for Suning. I mean, when you see a game like that and your early game goes that well, you have complete vision control around every single objective. You're getting dragons for free. First 3 dragons are uncontested for you. You're getting both Rift Heralds. And you end up losing it still because of a couple of small mistakes. It's gotta hurt for Suning, and it's gotta make you think, what is Suning's win conditions? How do they actually win this series? If you can develop that much of an early game lead when you're known to not be the best early game team, how are you gonna be able to take down a team like Top Esports?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a brutal defeat for Suning. It's also a great win for Top Esports, and to be honest, it's not that surprising the way that Top Esports won this game, right? When we look at them historically, like MSC, for example, there was that interview with Karsa where it was like, look, the Koreans like to play late game. We're also going to play late game. We're just going to beat them at their own game. And they did. Every game at MSC was like 35 minutes plus from Top Esports, and they managed to win that tournament. They are no strangers to the late game. Just look at that goal graph. That's a perfect way to describe how this game went. that blue line going downwards represents hope for Suning.
Yeah, I think that also represents every single usage of SofM's flash there. You can see every single time you use it, it's just like a 3 or like a 2k gold swing downwards. But yeah, it was super rough. I think that Suning just in general can actually take a lot away from this game though. This is one of those games that it feels horrible in the moment, but if you have like an improvement mindset, you know, lose is improve. This is a game where Suning's weaknesses got exploited, and you can learn a lot about how to close out games with gold leads if you just review this type of game and you get your dragon control under wraps.
Yeah, and it feels like the moment in the mid game where Suning traded that mid inhib for a dragon, right? I think that was the point at which they lost control of the game, because the mid inhib really didn't do too much for them. It felt like a good trade at the time, but in hindsight, like losing control of the Drakes, not being able to contest those Drakes, I feel like maybe you would be better coin flipping the 5v5 while your carries are more relevant than buying time for yourself and then fighting against top esports with 3 late game carries later on into the game. It didn't feel like those team fights were even feasible the longer the game went on.
Yeah, I think at the very least, if they were going to trade for that mid inhib, they needed to exit topside and get control of Baron so that when TES comes back from the Drake, they actually are forced to contest into your own vision. It feels like they got the inhib, but they didn't get anything else off of it, which made it a very tough situation because they ended up having to check blind into the Baron. Zhuo got the hook, and then once on was chunked, it was impossible for them to go forward with that second Baron. I mean, it was definitely that situation, and then the Dragon before, I think, was the most egregious one, because they went from having like a 4 or 5k gold lead to then losing Dragon. They don't get Soul. They lose Baron off the same play. I think they gave like 2 or 3 deaths as well. I think it was 2 deaths as well. So that was a huge swing. And honestly, if TES didn't have QingTian getting caught into the side in the side lanes repeatedly, this game could have been ended even earlier.
Yeah, honestly, I think without the overextensions from the Sylas, this would have been a brutal game in favor of top esports. But hey, laning phases went really well for Suning. The early game went well. There are positives for Suning fans at home, but let's be honest, there's a lot more positives for the top esports fans. We're going to jump into a break. We'll find out how game 2 goes.